Okay, trapeziums. So I'm going to go right back to the beginning with trapeziums, and we're going to think about what they are. So if we start with, before we even start with the trapezium, we think with a rectangle, we basically do base times height, don't we? And it turns out that with a parallelogram, we also do base times height. So let's have a look at a parallelogram in a little bit more detail. So I've got a ruler. This is not going to be perfectly measured or anything. What I'm doing is I'm taking a parallelogram, and that was just... So I doubt this is perfectly parallel, and I doubt these lines are perfect in any way, shape or form. But this is a parallelogram, and I can actually do this. I can split it here. That length is A, that length is B, that length is A, that length is B, and I can split my parallelogram into true trapeziums. So my height of my parallelogram is still H. My length is A plus B, because it's that there. So my area is my length times my height. Now, if I just want the area of this bit here, my area equals a half. A half times the length times the height. Now, what I tend to think of this is I add these two lines up and think of that as the average of them, because when you add something up and divide by 2, you find its average. That's how I tend to think of it. So with a trapezium, you look at the parallel lines, and it doesn't matter which one we call A and which one we call B, and you look at them and you add them together and you multiply them by the height, and you divide your answer by 2, because basically what you're really doing is finding... I put another little dotted line in there which just can't quite be seen, but if I put this in, if you added another trapezium exactly the same size and added onto it, you'd create a parallelogram. So you're finding the area of half the parallelogram, and so that side would be B and that side would be A. So a trapezium is, to look at the trapezium and notice where your parallel sides are, it's the length of that parallel side plus the length of that parallel side times the height, and if you did that together you get a parallelogram, so we divide it by 2, and that's all we do. Take that length plus that length, we times it by the height, and we divide by 2. I hope that helps.